Good evening. It is the evening of May 21st here where I'm at, and Wolfie's contest to rescue the two fine dames on Gleason's baby has officially ended. It ended very quickly, actually, after he released it. Congratulations to the two winners that were basically tied. I was not one of them, unfortunately. I spent too much time making up my solution in the program here, ArcGIS, and not enough on getting my spreadsheet ready. But regardless, congratulations to them, and it was a very fun exercise. There was a lot of steps to take account of, and it was a good way to get your brain working and break down a problem into chunks and work backwards in some cases. And I want to thank Wolfie very much for his generosity and for doing these contests. I think it's great fun, regardless of whether flat earthers enter or not, and we know they won't. But before we wind it up, I thought it would be fun to look at what this contest looks in various map projections. What we've got on the screen here is the Mercator projection of how the flight went that saw Gleason's baby's flares leaving Cape Town over here. And following this flight path, this is the shortest Great Circle route to Adelaide, and at 863 miles from Adelaide, they saw the flares off to their right, a beam of them. And when we zoom in, contest, two of the airports that were closest, I took mine out of Adelaide because I erroneously used the wrong date for the sheet off of the Australian Aeronautical site, and they'd upgraded the length of it, so I didn't even consider Busselton. I flew out of Adelaide, and the path looked something like this, roughly 865 miles to the MPP, and the search entry was 861 miles away. And in fact, when I first completed the test, I had even goofed worse than just being slow in that I had entered from the north. But it still worked out. There was enough fuel to complete the grid. But Busselton over here was the shorter trip, at only 812 miles to the MPP and 820 to the search entry. But in the Mercator projection, and indeed most other projections, you'll notice that these flight paths and the direct routes, the shortest distances, are curved because they're following the Great Circle around the Earth. And they are not straight lines. Even these short 30-mile jogs from the MPP to the search entry coordinates are not exactly straight, even though at this zoom level they look like it. So that's the Mercator projection. How would this look on the flat Earth? Well, we can look at how that would be, because I have georeferenced the flat Earth map, the Gleason map that our ship was named after. And how would this route look on a North Polar projection with the North Pole at the center? Center for North Pole azimuth. The MPP was at longitude 125 east. The latitude of origin will be 90. So there's the Gleason flat Earth projection. That sure looks like an awfully long way to fly, does it not? Even though we know in reality it's only 5,400 miles. How far is that really on the Gleason map? Well, just clicking along here every so often will even cut some corners to get there faster. We're already at 10,000 nautical miles. get to the 863 mile from Adelaide point, we've already flown 15,000 miles, according to the Gleason map. And to reach Adelaide is a trip of more than 17,500 miles. And yet we know a plane can make this trip without refueling. 17,500 miles? I don't know. That seems like a long way to go. If we measure the geodesic distance following the Great Circle, however, what do you know? 5,475. But, you know, people lie. Maybe the trip from Cape Town over to Adelaide or Busselton is different than we're told. Maybe they lie about being over the ocean the whole trip. Well, even the straight line distance is 12,908 miles from Cape Town to Adelaide. I don't think there's any planes can fly that without at least one mid-air refuel. And I think people would have noticed flying over the Himalayas on that flight. Not to mention the fact that 800 miles from Adelaide along that general direction puts them somewhere over the outback. And nobody was spotting flares from a boat in the outback. Or if they were, that would be a strange trip indeed. Zooming in on the locations, again, notice on the Gleason map, these routes are curved. They're not straight lines. The straight line distance from Busselton, for example, to the MPP, it's not the 812 miles that we know it to be. The Gleason map straight line distance would be 1,466. And if you were going to Adelaide, Adelaide would be 1,925 miles away. And that would have broken the fuel requirement regardless of which airport you started from. You wouldn't even get there and back, let alone have time to run the grid search. So, that kind of puts a wrench in using the Gleason map for anything. There's one magical, well, let's not jump the gun. Let's do one other one. What if we do it from the South Pole? You can put the Gleason map at the South Pole. Latitude of origin minus 90. Central meridian 125. Better, but still not correct. Let's see what the planar distance that we know to be 5,475 miles in reality goes straight to Adelaide is 5,778. So again, it's closer, definitely. But then flat earthers don't believe in Antarctica. They couldn't possibly fly that close to it without seeing the ice wall, and nobody ever sees the ice wall. If we were to fly the true flight path, it comes out to be almost 5,900 miles. And zoomed in, the point locations are still not flying straight paths. But there's one last thing I want to try. What do you think will happen if we use the flat earthers' precious Gleason map? Only this time we set the latitude to equal the MPP, so that the MPP itself is at the center of the map. Remembering what we know about the azimuthal equidistant projection, bearings and directions are true at the center of the map and through the center of the map. What happens to those flight paths then? What do you know? I'm going to turn off the latitude and longitude. For some reason that's drawing really slow. What do you know? Every one of the lines involved in this project, in this contest, is now perfectly straight, except those that don't pass exactly through the MPP. But close enough that they're basically straight. Just for clarity, let's turn on the National Geographic map. So from Cape Town to Adelaide and to Bustleton. And if we measure the planar distance from Cape Town to Adelaide, which is almost but not exactly through the MPP, 5,475 and a third miles. So that distance is measuring essentially correct. And if we zoom to the contest locations, my apologies, I had to turn off the National Geographic tile map. For some reason, it just quit drawing altogether. But if we zoom in here to the contest points from Bustleton or Adelaide to the MPP, perfectly straight line. And almost a straight line, just very slight deviation to the other areas that are not at the center of the map. And if we measure those distances, it's the 812.81 miles that we get when we measured via Great Circle distances on the other projections. So, there you have it. The azimuthal equidistant map can serve a purpose, or it can show useful information, put it that way. Not very often, but when used properly, it can give correct information. So, thank you very much, and once again, thank you to Wolfie for running this contest and his generosity. And I just want to take it out with, what happened the last time flat earthers, or I'm assuming they were flat earthers, were asked to provide assistance to somebody. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Can't believe this, Lloyd. First Mary dumps us, then the cops take our nest egg, then our hog breaks down.
Yeah! When are we ever gonna catch a break?
Hi, y'all.
Hey, allihopa.
Hey, guys. We're going on a national bikini tour, and we're looking for 2 oil boys who can grease us up before each competition.
You are in luck. There's a town about 3 miles that way. I'm sure you'll find a couple guys there.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Hej då.
Do you realize what you've done? Hey! Lloyd! Lloyd! You'll have to excuse my friend. He's a little slow. The town is back that way.